What up? What up? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. And yesterday, I didn't end up playing anything. I was disappointed because, even overnight, I was looking at Mercury team total over. It was 86 and a half. And then I woke up and I saw, it might have been there the night before, but I saw that Griner and Rebecca Allen were both questionable. And I was just like, let me see. I wanted Rebecca Allen really to be in too, but I didn't get there, and it was an easy winner. They scored 100 plus, so disappointed with that. The day before, I did have a loser, so try to get back on track from there. Veno, haven't seen you in a little bit. How's everything been for you, and how are you doing today?
I'm good, buddy. Happy 4th of July to everybody that's looking in and tuning in to us today.
And what color is that?
This is going to be, I think we call this Lions Blue, silver blue, Lions Blue.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, KC was in the laundry basket. She got
I know she'll be happy. She was waiting for she was upset that a lot of laundry was getting done.
She got it. Yeah. We'd have had a heck of a parlay yesterday because I was on the other side of that. I had the Wings team total over 83 and a half, which was just as easy. And let me just say this, Skee. There's only been a couple of times since I've been on with you where you stop the beginning of the show and tell me, Rob, I got to say something. I got to say something. And before I say it, let me credit your chat room because I never run into this with your chat. Very rarely over the course of 4 years doing work with you individually, just the two of us. You don't really have to call anybody out. I did a video for Wagertalk yesterday, and we do those 7-8 hours in advance. At the time, like you say, Brittany Griner was closer to doubtful than probable. Yeah. Rebecca Allen was pretty much on the borderline whether she was going to play or not, second straight game. And so, of course, that was part of my handicap. But you know me, I'm not in there just giving one reason. I'm giving 6 reasons why I like Wings over. Here's what I get from these ingrates that cash a ticket. Here's what I get. Wrong info, bro. Check before you throw us off. Griner and Allen both active and doing well. Do your research correct. Well,
they didn't announce that until 10 minutes, 20 minutes before.
Well, and this post came halfway through the third quarter. So he must have turned on the game in the third quarter. So then he gets a bandwagon behind him. One guy piles in and says, now I see Veno's an unreliable source.
Yeah, they want you to read the future, I guess, predict the future as far as injuries are concerned.
But we want to credit your chat. It's why I come on so often. It's why I like doing your show, because guys understand we're way in advance sometimes with these things before we know the injury report for real. And despite the fact that Brittany Griner and Rebecca Allen did play, that's a good matchup for the Wings. And also, I will say this, as part of the analysis yesterday, Natasha Howard and Odyssey Sims didn't play either game against Phoenix when Dallas ran up 107 and 90 in overtime. And Natasha Howard went crazy last night, right? She had 36 against that team. So in the long run, it turns out to be a win. I just had to ramble because when I see some of these guys just pull whatever they want to hear out of a full analysis, it cracks me up.
The chat is loving it. A couple comments here. One from Bryce Miller says, "Get him." And Hank likes that ingrate. Great word.
I mean, come
on. Paul says, "We love you, Rob." So a lot of love from Veno over here. A lot of love, and rightfully so. Something I wanted to say, and I didn't have a show yesterday. It was usually, I would let people know it, but I just had a really crazy traveling, crazy Tuesday in general. A lot of crazy stuff going on. I'll just say this. One part of it, and this is not even all of it, was having to try to chase down somebody who's hit and running me and also try to continue to make my flight. So combination of, and then my flight being delayed. So combination of all those things, I was just, I couldn't make it yesterday. It just is what it is. So my bad, you guys. We're back here today, and let's see if we can find some winners. You know what? I want to ask the chat too, if this is all right, Rob. You got a little bit of time?
Yeah, a little bit of time. Let's go.
The kind of person I am, I do not like talking to the police. I just do not. I don't like doing it. Um, so get this person. I chase him down, right? It ends up being a lady, and she's yelling at me like it's my fault when she clearly backed into my car, right? So she gets out of the car after arguing me down and goes into her house. So apparently she was trying to run off and just go home really quick. So what I want to ask the chat is, after looking at it, my car had a few scratches. It wasn't the worst. It's still running. The front bumper has a few scratches, right? I said, you know what? Because when you do a hit and run, you go to jail, right? I'm not into sending people to jail. I'm not into dealing with police. But I felt like I feel like I have coverage for that, so I can just go get it taken care of. When I bought the car, something that said, if you get scratches that are this, and this big, they'll take care of it. So I just said, you know what? Even though she was an asshole, even though I really don't like her and I think she deserves it, I'm just gonna leave the police out of it. What would you do in the chat room? And I guess you can tell me what you would want to do there too, Rob, if you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm always afraid of the insurance companies, even though it's not your fault jacking me up. So if I can live with it, I might live with it and fix it on my own. And I don't know how bad your damage was, but if somebody's going to be an asshole, I don't know. I might go after him. Skee.
She was an asshole for sure.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a borderline there from being a decent human being to having to be, as we call it on this show, a hard ass. And maybe we got to hard ass this woman now for that.
Yeah, she could have just stepped out and said, I'm sorry, my bad, blah blah blah, and I would have been fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you done made me chase you around the neighborhood and then talk to me like it's my fault. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think you got to go after her. We got to hard ass this woman.
And Casey, absolutely not, absolutely not. So
we wouldn't be having this discussion if she was.
A lot of different opinions from the chat. I guess the chat is undecided too. There's people on both sides. Bryce says, "Yeah, you being a nice guy, Skee." Yeah. I know, man. I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let's get to some picks for today. That's just what was on my mind, what I had to deal with. So, Connecticut and Minnesota is the first game up. We have an opener of -1 for Minnesota. It's now as high as -3.5. Total open 155.5, or at least that's what I see on the odds screen. I feel like I saw 157, and it's as low as 150.5 currently. So big move to the under, big move to the links. Injury report: Ty Harris has been added. She's questionable now with an illness. And for the links, I don't see anybody on that injury report. So I'm going to slide this one to you here first, Veno. It's two really good teams, two very good defensive teams. I would be surprised if you're running to the window with an over, but I won't count it out.
And I think after the way we've discussed Connecticut against elite competition this year, Skee, it would be a surprise if I ran to the window to get Connecticut. These two teams are so opposite as far as how they've done against top tier teams in this league. Connecticut, we talked about it when they went on that short road trip and had to play Las Vegas and Seattle back to back. And we were like, we'll see. You guys haven't played anybody yet. What'd they do? They got beat by 11 points in both of those games. On the road, granted, but it was really the first time they were stepping out. They had played the Lynx prior, beat the Lynx in the one season meeting, 83-82. It was an overtime game, but they were 6.5-point favorites in that game. So the Lynx covered rather easily. You contrast that with the Lynx, who are 6-3 straight up and 7-2 against the spread, against what I would consider the top four teams in the league aside from them, right? We're talking about Las Vegas, Seattle, Connecticut, New York. Minnesota is not only won and covered. Covering 7 out of 9 is, I think, 78%. But they beat Seattle by 19 points, by 9 points, beat New York by 23 points. They've beaten teams by margin, good teams by margin. So to me, the Lynx are clearly the better team here. I'll be up front here real quick. I played this game. I had to do a video for it yesterday, so I played it yesterday when it was only Minnesota -2. That had gone up from Minnesota -1 up to 2. So I got a good number on this game. At home, they're 3-1 against the spread against these top echelon teams. At home this year, they've won. I think they're 8-1 at home in 9 games so far this season. And 7 of the 8 wins by the Lynx have been by 9 points or more at home. So they win by margin at home. Connecticut's on an 0-5 ATS streak right now. They're not playing the best point spread basketball at all. So I think you have a lot of advantages for Minnesota as far as achievements against top class competition as opposed to Connecticut. And I'll say this, the way Minnesota lost the other night, that fourth quarter was a disaster against the New York Liberty. They scored 8 points. I think it was the last time you and I did a show, Skee, Tuesday night, Liberty Lynx. And Lynx are winning 65-61 in the fourth and went bone dry and lost that game by 9. New York got the cover. So I think at home here, you get a little bit of a bounce back. You're right about total because it's the 2 slowest paced teams in the league, on top of being the 2 best defensive teams, right? They're 1-2 in defensive rating. They're 11-12 in pace of play. All that is a good, are a lot of good ingredients for an under. But I'll say one more time, the biggest difference between the Lynx and a lot of these teams is they shoot the 3 ball so well. Still number 1 in the league in 3-point percentage. Connecticut's not a good 3-point shooting team. And Minnesota's still number 1 in points off of turnovers, or percentage of points off of turnovers. So they got a couple of things in their favor here. First matchup, Connecticut's interior did the job. Their front line, starting front line, outscores Minnesota 57-43. They're a +14 across the front court. But the backcourt of Minnesota was +17. So you can kind of see the difference in how they go about their points. I just don't like, you've said it quite a few times since I've been working with you. You like shooters. And to me, Connecticut still doesn't have enough shooters. And Minnesota does. They have more. So I bet Minnesota -2. I still think they're probably good at this price just because of the fact that when they win, as I said earlier, they win by margin. And they've won by margin against really good teams like Connecticut. So I'm on the side of Minnesota here.
I'm in agreement. One thing you said is about the shooters, and there it could be minus another shooter here today without Ty Harris, and that's going to affect the offense tremendously for this Connecticut team. Minnesota's defense, top tier. I know they're not as big, down low as Connecticut might be, but I just think the collective team. I mean, I'm think back to how they defended the Aces in the Commissioner's Cup. If you can do that, you can defend anybody. So I just think Connecticut is really going to struggle to score in this game. We'll see. DeWanna Bonner's going to have to do a hell of a lot, I feel like, in this one. And Bree Jones would have to have a really big night, too. But Minnesota is the deeper team. Minnesota, I feel like, has been playing better. Minnesota at the house. There's too many reasons for me to like the Lynx in this game. So, Lynx to win. And, I think Connecticut team total under 74.5 is worth a look. We've already seen their offense struggle plenty of times. And like we mentioned earlier, they don't have Ty Harris. It's going to struggle even more. So, Connecticut team total under. Any thoughts about that, Rob?
I could agree with that. I could definitely agree with that. Connecticut, at times, it's more than a struggle. I'm just trying to look real quick here. The 2 road games, which were important to me, that Connecticut played against Las Vegas and against so they only got the 74 against Las Vegas, which is under tonight's total. And when they played Seattle on the road, they only got the 61. So yeah, under 74.5 against a quality defense and a quality team is definitely worth a look.
All right. Love that we can agree on that. And let's move on over. I don't know what JR is talking about in the chat. I have no clue. Maybe he's just playing around, whatever. But we're going to move over to the next game. One thing, though, I had to mention, and I forgot. There's a comment here. It says, just get the plate number. Never know if they're armed. They had no plates. that was part of the reason, too. I got the VIN number, though. because I was smart enough to think about that after they went into the house. So I'll deal with that. Next game up, we have Mystics and Aces. Aces opened 16 and a half, down as low as 15. And it's make sure you line shop because I see a 16 right now and I see a 15 and a lot of 15 and a half. So depending what side you like, get the best of that number. Total open 169 and a half. It looks like 172 and a half is the consensus. And again, make sure you line shop because I see it's 173, etc. Aces don't have anybody on the injury report. We know the Mystics are shorthanded here. Samuelson with her hand injury out, Sykes out, Austin out. Dolson, game time decision, but it looks like she's more like probable or likely to play. Yeah, very likely to play for Dolson. So this is the front end of a back-to-back for the Aces. They play the Sparks tomorrow. Don't normally think of that as a big game, but they did lose to that Sparks team already. So I just, I think teams remember that. And for this game, I'm not sure. I mean, last time these teams played, the Mystics were all over the Aces in the first half. And then Aces, woke up, got their stuff together, and destroyed them. Played really good defense in that second half. I think they might have allowed something like 25 points in the second half of that game. So they're more than capable of beating this team. It's just how much do they care to? How much effort are we getting from them? So I've thought about it two ways here, Rob. Do we get a game where, they're thinking, we let them come out and throw the first punch last time. Let's throw the first punch and get it over with early type of game from the Aces. And also in the same thought process, like, let's get it over early and save some of that energy for tomorrow versus Sparks too. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. So that kind of makes me nervous about Washington first half, even though it's been so good all season long. And I think if you like over here, Rob, you bet it first half. And after that, I really do believe it's a second half under game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I tried to get to over Skee, but I think I missed the boat. It's been pushed pretty far. I've talked a couple of times here about liking the Bet Mystics games because I thought they were underpriced as far as total is concerned, but that's not the case anymore, right? And people saw 169 and pushed it all the way to 173 and a half, which is an indication that we all know the Aces can score, but you need two teams to get to that type of number. And people obviously are paying a little bit of attention to the Mystics. They hurt me the other night, right? I had this Sparks Mystics over 162 and a half. The game landed 162. It was a big Mystics fourth quarter. In that one, 30 points in the fourth and only 16 for the LA Sparks. But Washington just, even without Carly Samuelson, even without Brittany Sykes, et cetera, they continue to score enough points. The question, I think, is the one you put up front, is how much will the Aces care if they get ahead big, after three? And you always worry about that dry fourth quarter that hurts your over. So I'm a little nervous there. I wanted to play Aces team total over, but that same line of thinking scares me off of over 94 and a half. Maybe, they have so many after three and the fourth just doesn't matter. So I think the odds makers probably outpriced me here. I would thoroughly agree with the Las Vegas Aces wanting to throw the first punch here. It's interesting against Indiana the other night, Skee. That game was close at halftime. It wasn't they weren't losing like they were to the Mystics. I think the Mystics scored 52 in the first half of that game against Las Vegas. But Indiana was close, maybe around 8 or 9 point difference at halftime. And then, the Aces again with a huge second half. So I don't know the exact numbers on how they are against the spread in second halves, Las Vegas. But the last two games, certainly they've waited around, let the other side hang around, the underdog hang around, and then put them away. Maybe they put them away early here. That would probably be, to me, the best way to look at this. The Washington team total, I don't think I could get to either way. Although we did see the Aces here again. See, you made the point about how they clamped down against the Mystics. They clamped down on Indiana too the other night. box score. I'm trying to find right here. I remember them. Yeah, they held the Fever to 10 points in the fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
32 in the second half. So I'm a little afraid to bet under because the aces can explode at any point in time. A little afraid to bet over because I think it's probably priced too high. 169, maybe I would have liked it. 173.5, I think I have to pass.
All right. I mean, we got to talk about this a little bit more because I remember. I mean, this is coinciding right here. What you just said, what we just talked about, Derek. He says Ace is number 3 defensive rated last 5 games. I remember talking about that. It was a game where Aja was crying in the post game interview, and Becky was talking about how bad the team was defensively and all of these things. And ever since then, they've been cleaning it up. They've looked damn good on that end. So, is this a situation where at some point we trust the Aces to play defense? And at the same time, I mean, if the Mystics don't cover, or let me think that I'm saying this correctly. I'm thinking about, let me talk it out. I'm looking at the Aces team total of 94.5 and saying, like, the Mystics have only given up this number once all season. And that was kind of like in the beginning of the season versus the Storm the first few games or so. This is a high number, 94.5. I'm trying to think how many times I remember the Aces hitting it. But I'm even thinking, how much do we trust the Mystics defense is kind of my thought here. Like, they haven't given up this number all year. They did play the Aces once. They played them last game. The Aces shot 36% from 3, I think like 48% from the field. They shot like 24 free throws. I mean, how much better than that is it going to get? They only scored 88 points. I'm starting to think under is the play some way, shape, or form in this game, Veno.
Yeah, and I think you're better off, Skee, because we talked a lot here about maybe splitting this game up and playing, maybe first half. But I think if you're going to play the game under, you better play full game under. I think is better because, yes, the Aces have clamped down, but it seems like during the game they decide we have to clamp down, right? Giving up 52 in the first half isn't clamping down. It's what they did in the second half, and it's in what they did in the second half against Indiana. So I think if I'm going to play full a Las Vegas game under, I'd rather be on full game under, which again, 173.5 is a big, big number to get over. And generally speaking in the WNBA. And then, man, there was something else. Oh, you wanted to know how much you could trust the Mystics defense. And I know the other day when we were on, when Las Vegas played Indiana, a lot of folks in the chat were on Aces team total under 96.5. It was right because they only got to 88. And I remember saying, I don't want to have to count on them to get to 97 because it's so high priced.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably trust the Mystics defense more than you trust Indiana's, right? And they only got to 88.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
So it's just adding fuel to playing under in some way, shape, or form. Here, maybe you play Mystics team total under, maybe you play full game under, the home team under 94.5. But I think if I had all those choices, I would probably say under 173.5 would be the best choice.
All right. Well, I think we made a lot of good points. I didn't play this game. I played the other game so far, but I still could add this game. What I'll end with is second half under seems like an absolute play to, no matter how the first half goes, really, to me.
Right.
So I'm going to be looking towards that live, and if I do end up taking it, I'm gonna put it on Discord. I'll try to put it on YouTube too for the members too, but Discord is the easiest. So second half under is already on my radar, and I will decide if I really want to jump in with the under 172.5 or Aces team total under 94.5 as the day goes on. So, Veno, I think we did a pretty good job here. Now it's about time for us to move it on over to best bets. So let me get this situated there. Let's see if I still know how to work this out here. So we still have our thing up, don't we?
We do.
Okay. Man, I've had such a crazy couple of days. I've been all over the place. So excuse me, my bad. And I had to go back to my old crib. I'm not at home right now. So Bear with me. We got it though, right? That looks good.
Yep.
Okay. So I did lose once since the last time we spoke about this special. I've only had one play. I told you how my last couple of days went, so I'm back locked in now, and I'm still up. I think like 10 or 9 and some change units, something like that on the season. Mostly 1% plays. And Veno, you can speak to maybe some updated numbers. I know you've continued to stay hot in the WNBA, and also let us know a best bet.
All right. So as far as numbers go, current after last night's win in the WNBA ski, 25 and 14 on the year. That's 64%, and it's plus 31.1 units. So it's been a big day, a big year. Generally, that would be good enough to be on top of the leaderboard. But one more time, I will just take a second. It's you and I doing this show, but let me just shout out Ronald Kabang, UCapper, who I think has won 17 games in a row. That's about the only thing stopping me from being number one in the company right now as far as WNBA is concerned. So shout out to Ronald. But the two of us combined, I know those numbers are from when we started the promo, and they've gotten a little bit better since then. Best bet. I'll go back to the Lynx Skee. I mean, it was the first thing I bet, and granted, I bet it at -2, but I still think at this price tag, it's worth it with this team. They've shown us the ability to beat really good teams. They've shown us the ability to beat really good teams by margin. They've shown us the ability to crush teams at home. When you've won 8 games at home already, 8-1 at home, and 7 of those have been by 9 or more, and Connecticut's so prone to scoring droughts. One last thing I didn't mention in the beginning that I'll say now just to add to this is that Minnesota has an opportunity to even the season series here, and they also have a chance to jump into a second-place tie with Connecticut with a win here. Connecticut, I think, is 1 game ahead of Minnesota for second place right now. So a win by the Lynx would even the season series. It would put them in second place tie with Connecticut. I think all those reasons. And Nafisha Collier had 31 points in the first game against Connecticut. So even though Minnesota's a little bit smaller, they do have their own version of a point machine down there, down low. She's been great all season long. So give me the Lynx minus the points here as the best bet.
Good stuff, Vino. I like that play as well. I think the Lynx are a very good bet today for myself. And let's see if I can do this right here again. So, oh, there we go. Easy peasy. For myself, we'll stick with that same game. And I think Rob just said it there. Connecticut could really struggle to score in this game. Lynx defense, at least defensive rated wise, are number one. We've seen them clamp down on a lot of top offenses. Most recently, I mean, that sticks in my mind is how they defended the Aces in that Commissioner's Cup game. They're more than capable of, clamping down on anybody in this league. And if Connecticut is missing Ty Harris, it's going to be trouble. Another shooter, and they're going to really, really struggle to score the ball. So my best bet for the show today, I took Connecticut team total under 74.5. I got it at DraftKings, so that's what I'm rocking with for the show. And let's see if we can get back. There we go. Easy. I'm learning, Rob. I'm getting there.
Look at that, man. That's a professional production crew right there.
Rob, I appreciate you taking the time to come on with me always. And there's a guy in the chat right there. We shouted him out, UCapper. Yeah, stay hot, UCapper. And make sure y'all check out his site, The Money Baller, too. I use it when I cap these games as well. But, Rob, appreciate you taking the time to talk these games out with me. You stay hot as well. You've been doing really, really great work. And if you have time tomorrow, I know it's a holiday today. If you have time tomorrow and you would like to do it again, you're more than welcome to come do it again. For everybody in the chat, we appreciate you all as well. A lot of great cappers, and we all always have a good time, doing this together. So best of luck if you tell. Good luck, everybody, on all your action. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Enjoy your time with your family, and we'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Peace.